Brian is really pretty new at channeling. He is new at channeling, but this the energy that he's bringing in is not. So so that energy actually appears here and is very powerful. I always ask people to bring a question because the energy loves the questions, and let's try to go deeper so it brings more of the energy out, because it'll go as far as you want to go. Okay. So what we really want to do is really open up this channel and really go as deep as we can. So, like, let your mind go, your opinions go, your judgments go, and we'll follow this open path door to another reality that is actually here to help guide us and give us some information. And you got I'm right there, Tom. Oh, come on, you want to do the floor? Rick, there's another pillow behind you. Oh, here you go. Or do you want a chair? Pull a chair up and on the other side. Okay, so the whole idea is to expand our consciousness. And we're here to do it for the highest and best good of ourselves and for everyone else. So in this moment, I can already tell he's coming. He's starting to move. So I would like to honor this moment of all of us coming in to this space. And let me just scoot here just a second. I'm going to ring this bell behind you to bring us all to this moment in time. So take a breath. Close your eyes. Take a breath. And breathe into the circle, because we're all threads of this intergalactic web.
Greetings.
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 And what would be the topic of discussion today?
Someone bring a pertinent question?
Atlantis?
Say that again.
Atlantis?
Atlantis. A pastime. Yes, there was a time of Atlantis where men and women were at this higher sort of a state of consciousness. And now what is happening here is not much different, except for the energy is being held much better, grounded much better, used much better. And it is spread, distributed much evenly throughout the planet. And it has its own key lines and its own waypoints that have been able to create a better situation for humanity in the way that it holds energy in general. So the energy has changed very quickly, rapidly among humans now. So this is a significant time in that sort of way that you are able to hold energy in a much greater facet. Atlantis was a time that many of you have learned from, because many of you here in this room were parts of that time. It is a part of your cellular DNA and who you are. And much of the understanding that you had then are not quite the same as you have now. But the understandings are beginning to come slowly in a different way, perhaps, but they are coming through their own ways back and you're grounding it in your own individual ways back to this earth. Humanity is taking its own leap of consciousness at this time. And it is a step up in vibration. It is a step up in understanding and being able to take on more understanding of what it is that you are and have come to do.
What is it we have come to do?
What is it that is fulfilling to you? Because much of that is going to be the indications of what it is that you're here to do. Each of you have your own individual life. What it is that you are fulfilled in is going to be what it is that you should be doing. It will come natural to what it is that is in your life that you should want. Now, it doesn't mean that all your wants are going to be what it is that you should be doing. You can have of many different ways of abundance, for instance. But if you have an abundance of negativity or lack, you will get much of that vibration back. What is fulfilling? What brings you joy? That's what we would say you should be focusing your attention on, because it's a natural energy that each of you is going to be unique in. So look within yourself for that answer. Much of that is brewing and has been brewing, and you feel the limitations of your life. But just know that it's part of an indicator that you are changing some of the vibration within yourself, that you are changing some of the belief systems that you have about something, and you're in a disarray with what it is and how you can get to what it is you want to be doing. So know that the purpose of life is not necessarily for the abundance of the life itself, but the abundance of happiness. And it is life. Purpose of life is life, many cases, yes. But you are gaining greater, deeper depths of lessons when you follow your joy. You stand in more of your power. Your creativity is the conduit of who, in bringing more of that source energy that you wanted to bring in the first place. And as you're able to understand these ideas and make a lot of this flow easier for your life, you'll have a new awareness about yourself, and you'll understand the true joys that you've come to bring.
Who are you?
Who are we? We are a collective of many different sorts of consciousnesses that have come through into different forms, not the so physical form that you're accustomed to, but we have come basically to help and assist humanity in different ways, and we come as a vibration, as a bandwidth of vibrations that the keeper is able to hold. And so many of us will step forward when there is time, that there are certain questions that we think might help assist you in your progress, in your journeys here in this reality.
What is wisdom?
Wisdom is how you apply much of the light that you are gaining. It is the part of your walk in life, the journey, and how you are able to handle the new things that you are learning, the lessons that you have, the things that you are coming upon, and you understanding and reconsidering much of the basis of your own reality. Your wisdom comes in different forms. Animals have their own wisdom, plants their own. Different wisdoms come through different conduits. So, in walking in your own wisdom, it is walking in your own light. Light being understanding, knowledge, applying it. Wisdom is the walk of the journey, we would say, in the fulfilling of what it is that you want to bring forth in your reality.
What is universal white time healing?
First of all, we would like to say universal time does not quite exist the same way throughout the universe. This is a very linear like time. You guys have much of your clocks. You're always looking at what time you should be doing certain things, and that is well and fine, but it is not quite the same in all aspects. So time is much different than healing. And healing can be done in many different forms. It comes with different vibrations, and it comes with its own vibration that you can feel in many different ways and facets. And there is many. We would say there's many on your planet available to you with the plant forms. Many of the plants can cure what is happening. You are finding that nature itself has a way of curing. Gaia has ways of being able to transmute something, and in this human form. Now, there are other forms of healing. Healing that comes through yourself. Healing that is a vibration that you feel can happen. It's a limitation that you simply can take off. And yes, there are connections within yourself that are allowing for this new light to come and to be. But it is something that you can bring through with a knowledge, with a confirmation through yourself, through a limitless idea that you can become a great healer within certain things. Not all of you are a great healer. Many of you have spent much time in previous experiences being healers. And you have stepped forward in a different way in this time to be something else, for instance, like a teacher. But as a healer, we would say, tap into the energies that you already naturally know, because many of you already have been doing this for much of your times, and have been doing this in many different forms. And you're just reconnecting who you are, and connecting that realm of the vibrations that can be tapped into that can also assist you in those things. There are many different forms, and it is what you feel is best. What you feel can work in most powerful ways that will also help you understand through your own belief systems about healing that can create a much better stage for healing itself.
Well, I've learned recently that there is that the Pleiadians have brought forth in the last 14 years a particular kind of white light healing energy called white time. I was wondering if you know anything about it. It's something that we can access and use, apparently.
There are many forms of healing that is taking place, and much of the technology is being used now and being downloaded now. Just as there has been people ahead of their time, there are people now that are ahead of their time, this particular time, although this particular time is an interesting time because it is freeing up much of that. Yes, there is a white light type of healing. The Keeper is not very familiar with this sort of way of healing, but use this wisely, as you would use much of the facets of healing wisely, in wisdom. Apply it with the understanding that you personally have with this. It is a technology that has been around for many of times throughout history. Though not very familiar in your own sciences. There are forms of it that are, and it is being somewhat transmuted in your own way of learning it here. This will come in due time and as in a process of its own.
The other night we had a group here that we did an apology to the indigenous peoples of the world. And we had 3 representatives that just so happened to appear. One Indian and 2 Japanese. But what we felt in the process was this huge opening for many, many people to come through and receive this apology. Is that one of the things that needs to happen before these gates open up for all of us? That the apologies need to be sent or said?
It is not necessary in a way that apologies must be made, but it is not a harmful thing in any way either, for you are recognizing a past that you do not want to intend to have more of in the future. So you are seeing things in a way of understanding yourself as a society that is progressing, as a different consciousness. And you are seeing what has happened and taken place in the past that you do not necessarily are congruent with now in this time frame, in this moment. For it was in that moment, in those times, a group of peoples, many different types, including the governments, and yes, the indigenous people were involved with these sorts of things. Now, this is a much more coming together type of world, is it not? And so you recognize your past, you feel bad for the past, but much of the past is not quite the victimizes system as you would think. It is all more or less a volunteering of all of each of you. It is not necessarily that they have come as victims to experience what has happened, but you have transmuted and you are grateful for the ways that things are now. And you are changing what it is that you are going to do in the future. Much of the wars now are being thwarted in a way because much of humanity is not so into wanting the destruction, trying to heal with wars. Much of this is changing. Consciousness is rapidly changing here. So to recognize your past is a good thing. To know that you want to change what is going to happen in the future is also a good thing. And being in that moment of understanding and appreciating for what it is that things are now, and apologizing for the past deeds, they are not necessarily yours, but it is good to be recognized in those sorts of ways. For you're recognizing a change throughout the land. A new contract, a new way of being is being presented. Much of this has happened throughout different catastrophic times in your past. Take, for instance, the World War, where the Jews won't put up with that sort of thing now. They are more aware. So histories don't quite repeat themselves in the same sort of ways when you look at it and you bring it into a more conscious form.
How much of our human lives are predetermined versus our will?
Much of the predetermined parts of your human life in existence, you have predetermined before you have set foot into this life. Before you have come here, you've predetermined certain things that you would like to have happen. Even the parents that you have, you've chose much of your reality in some degree. But you can always change from those things. And you have full conscious awareness to be able to change from some of those things to create new types of conscious contracts for yourself. You can walk into new paths. You can meet and greet and have a whole new life. If you were to, for instance, move somewhere else to the planet, you would have another life experience for you. And much of this is in your own free will. And yes, you have predetermined some of the things that would happen, or you would have liked to have happened, to ignite certain things that you would wanted to learn in lessons in this life. And some things don't always work out, for this is a free will zone. So you have much of your own agency, the entirety of your agency, really. But much of this you have somewhat subconsciously, as you don't bring your full awareness here, kind of bump along into life lessons and things that have happened, but have happened for good reasons.
Are there general or specific things that prevent the human race from lining up and being conscious, walking in the light?
There are many limitations we see on this part of humanity throughout the world with different systems, governments, and policies that are in place right now that have slowed some of the great progression that could be taking place. Free energy, it would be one of those areas. Many different types of facets have been happening throughout your planet. So in terms of the progression that humanity is able to make, it is also the acceptance of how they look at all of things and the greater depth that the world has with all of it. There are certain avenues that humanity could be taking that could greatly bring them further along in their progression. And much of this is taking place now and will continue to take place as they evolve themselves and look with a different way of seeing things. Humanity is stretching their minds and their experiences. They're stretching what their boundaries are. And they're learning how to go around much of these limitations that are presented before them. And naturally, following those things that are in your heart are going to bring that about. Much of the older countries are beginning to catch up to the newer. It used to be that it was very divided, that there was much indigenous things happening on one side and very high technology and a great progression happening at another area of the planet. It is not quite so now. More of the world is beginning to step up. The consciousness is beginning to spread throughout all of it. And new ways are being presented. And new ways are being grounded. And what humanity does with these things is going to greatly change the outcome of what is going to be.
So if you were to define a conscious being, how would you define that?
A conscious being. Everything has its own consciousness. Even the smallest of beings has a form of consciousness. It is a piece of light of who they are. It is the ability of what they can understand around them in their environment. It is the ability that they are able to see light come through them, transmuted. The ability that they are able to expand themselves. Consciousness is more or less a kind of a loose term. It is a conduit of many different aspects of who you are. And how much is grounded here can be how much you are able to take in. You are able to take on more consciousness. You are able to take on other vibrations and open yourself up to much more that is. So,
oh, I'm sorry. I have a question when you're ready.
Sure.
Recently, I happened to see the face of what is termed Jesus in the Shroud of Turin in a three-dimensional form. It looked very much like the face that's on Mars. Is there any correlation between that, and how did those structures occur on Mars?
Well, humanity is not alone, for one. When it comes to Jesus, there are many different forms. Jesus is a master of healing. And he showed things that were before his time, that were here. But the images on the planet of Mars is not necessarily the images of Jesus that are here. And how they came to be has been through a facet of time, and also other beings that have been around. Much of this is being discovered. Yes, there are other things that are out there. There are other realities. There are other beings that are watching very closely what is happening and taking place here. But not just here, it is all throughout your planetary system, really.
What have been the purposes of the world religions that seem to have kept human consciousness held down? I mean, has it been control? They've been wanting to control the masses?
There has been manipulation in the past, especially of many of the controls, many of the facets of things, but much of the religions that are here, the collective of all religions, is a part of the vibration of the soul of the planet itself. It is part of the soul of humanity itself. It is a vibration, so there are many vibrations, so there are many religions. There are facets of what it is that you believe in. Much of what you believe is always outside of yourself. You do not see yourself as a being of consciousness with a divine ability to do many great things. And so much of this you feel more comfortable terming it outside of yourself. And it relates it throughout all the religions that are happening. Not necessarily control, but it is what people amass to and feel comfortable with. But much of that is beginning to start to change as humanity is seeing what they're capable of. And as new capabilities are being brought through, humanity begins to change its perspective on certain things when it comes to the religious ideas.
Can you tell me more about indigo children and how to parent one?
Should have been here last week.
Indigo children, as they are termed, come with a little bit different vibration. They may seem a little more rebellious because they're not so wanting to be so accustomed to the system. It is part of the flow, evolution of humanity. It is a new vibration that is coming in. The term indigo was just a term that someone was able to see aura, or they defined it as aura, the energy, as being a little bit different in the color of indigo. But what they are finding, and humanity is beginning to understand, is indigo's children is a vibrationally change through of what they're stepping into, the new paradigm, the new time. They're not going to be so restricted to one idea. They're going to have many facets of ideas. And they may explore more. And that is what we wish to see more of with humanity, that you simply explore more out there. Go out and make wonderful mistakes. These are great lessons. Indigos don't seem so fearful of these mistakes. This can be frustrating as a parent. As they go through the facets of life, they do not want, for instance, the more linear time of things. They want to speed up the process, become a little bit more faster into their groove of what they want to do. So they may try to push ahead of the others a little more. And it can be somewhat stressful to see this. But as humanity is beginning to concentrate more and bring more of what it is that they want forward, it will begin to condense time as you know it, and the facets of things to be in a little bit smaller form, that it comes much faster for you. And it is not much different than the kids that are coming in now and learning things at a much greater speed, as it will be for as their kids come in, and the same things will be happening on a different, grander scale.
Are there a lot of intergalactic beings present on this earth already?
Yes.
In here?
In physical form?
In physical form. Yes.
Raise your hands.
How badly does the intergalactic community want to communicate with us, and what is its value on a daily basis?
Believe it or not, the intergalactic, they are having somewhat of an argument of who can be most assistant to humanity. Where they all come with their own different alliances, agendas, and facets of ways to be able to help humanity. For certain things, they have their own agendas in terms of maybe trading, abilities to be able to use this place in some way, not in a very scary way, but more of an interaction type of way. But there are different types of intergalactic beings. They bring their own essence of who they are, their own different pieces of light, and as humanity begins to step up, they begin to see how they can be a little bit more in relations to them as they begin to heal their own planet, humanity. They will begin to step forward into a cosmic negotiations of a whole other grander scale. This graduation will happen soon, as the energy is now. And we see this happening in the next 50, possibly less years.
With the bickering that takes place within galactic beings of which way is appropriate and who should step up and do more than others, who's the central point there? Who's the judge? Who's the one who says it's a good idea or not a good idea? Who makes the decision, the ultimate decision that something?
They do not make decisions the same way humanity may, with one person being as a great spokesman, although it can come in different forms, and yes, they do have their own spokesman, but they speak more of a oneness. They speak more of on the intercollective. And so their groups that they come with speak not as one, sort of one individual, but as one group.
So some of these intergalactic beings that have come in, have they, so to speak, infiltrated into governments of countries? Are they leading some of the governments now?
Yes, they have been infiltrating some of the things that are in the behind scenes with the government. And the government has felt in their best interest to not disclose what is happening fully. There has been some agreements and arrangements that have been taken place behind the doors, but because it's not a fully collective humanity even aware of much of these things, much of this does not stand in a much greater depth as you would think it would. So there has been some exchanges, some things that have happened through your history that has changed some of the things that are happening here, and yes, have been on different levels, but even the governments themselves are limited in what they understand, so there is a limited part of the governments that even understand the fullness of what was really taking place.
So with the changes that are happening with this, with human beings, and supposedly they're on a grander scale than what was predicted or even anticipated, are those happening as a result of human consciousness, or are they happening because of the assistance from other beings? In other words, are we doing it ourselves, or are we dependent on others to do it for us?
It is not their responsibility to do it for you, or to bring a certain idea to you, but they have held some facets of being to help you along on your journeys as human beings. They have, in ways, assisted in a mass disasters that could have taken place or could have taken place in greater catastrophe levels on a greater scale. And so they have thwarted, moved some of that out of the way. Some of the greater mass things that could have happened in that time. In time, throughout time. They have always been around in some degree. And they have made it a point to be at a more unconscious level for humanity. It is some agreements that are happening outside of this. But much of humanity's movement in its own consciousness has been happening with humanity. They have held some of this light and grounded different things through each of you. The messages have always been around. But it is now that you are beginning to take them on and try them on. And try new facets within yourselves. And you will ground it in your own particular way as humanity will. Not that they can ground it for you. It is impossible. You are the natives of this planet. You are the best ones that can roam this planet and be in its most fully part of it. And you have chosen this place for yourselves. So you are grounding your own light for its own being.
With the children coming in more conscious and more capable and quicker learning, all that kind of stuff, with them increasing consciousness as they do, what does that say about adults who, because of that, and are gaining their consciousness as well? Will that change? Like how long? Will they live longer? Will they stay healthier? Will they be more agile? Will they be able to do so much more than they ever have in the past? I mean, will that transfer on to adults who are opening up and becoming more conscious as well?
The ability to be limitless does not matter with your age. You can transform much of who you are without the idea of age. Now, age itself has been a linear thing. Much of those controls are beginning to be taken off now. And you are beginning to be more in control of that. But it's not fully understood right now. Mm-hmm. So maybe the younger ones could possibly live longer and more expected to be so. But it is the consciousness of all that can change rapidly. It's not so faceted on a certain age or an age group. The abilities that are coming in sooner now. They're coming in with new ideas, new forms entirely.
So how can we recognize these intergalactics that are among us?
Feel within your heart when you are around certain people. Feel what it is that you, if you are looking for this type of thing, open yourself up to such a thing. It is not necessary that you must find these sort of forms. Many of them look like you.
Since words mean so much to us, take the word consciousness and aware, or awareness. Now, there is a difference in consciousness and awareness. It's like the children that are coming in now. Do they have a greater awareness, or is it really a consciousness?
It is both. There are different levels that awareness can be known. Even subconscious levels as awareness, you can take on a different type of aspects, and much more can flow through on a subconscious level. Awareness can take place with the inner being, as awareness is attached to consciousness also. Animals are not quite as aware as humans are in certain areas, but they are more aware of what it is they like to do, and they are more in touch with that than the complications that can be made through how your way of being is and the structures that you have in place. So awareness comes in many different forms. some are greater in awareness in the animals than our particular awareness in this particular way of a human form. But in general, awareness is much stronger in a human form, and you are able to take on more consciousness through that awareness in growing both.
Can we go back and review the soul? You kind of mentioned that that the soul is asking for more recognition now than ever before.
The essence of who you are is asking for more recognition. The part of you that wants to be so deeply in touch with you in this life, that wants you to bring forth a new reality for yourself in the greatest form that you can be, is what is wanting to be in touch with yourself. Is that creativity, that conduit from your higher self that wants to be deeply integrated more in this part of your reality. That is the soul of who you are, the soul of your love, the soul of your light. If you walk into this, you will bring more. You will naturally bring these aspects to the surface, to your life, and will become more apparent in the ways that you walk, in the ways that you are in a being. The life itself will change, and it can become a much more beautiful, vibrant life. Literally, in the physical form. All of that is true.
What's the difference between heart and soul?
A heart is an indicator. It is the emotional way of looking at everything. It is the heart of who you are in beingness, the essence, what brings in, attracts. Your soul is an ongoing, infinite sort of thing. You have different characteristics and beliefs and different types of things. Your soul of who you are is what we would like to say your source energy, your higher self, of who you are. And some of that carries its own aspects through the other times of your beingness. But what is happening in this particular moment, the experiences that you are having, is done and understood through your heart. Through your mind also, of course, but through your heart, you are changing the magnetics, changing your reality, changing what is being understood on different levels. And you can feel when doors are opening for you or doors are closing for you through your heart. Your soul can also give you great inspiration and ideas. Being in touch with that will bring you to new levels of experience that your heart will understand.
Mm-hmm. The children coming in now, wow, they are coming in so much more open and more clear. Over the years, there's been a history of from the evolution of humankind from reptilian brain to right and left brain to frontal lobe. Are they coming in with physical changes or just amped up energy, vibrational changes? What is taking place coming forward?
Again, we would say both. They are coming in with more energy. They're coming in, as a frustrated parent here knows of, more energy, more awareness, and there are physical changes that are happening now. And physical changes even within your own body structures even now. Some are crystallization that is happening on the pineal gland. It has been feared of when scientists first started seeing this happening, but it is happening because you are opening and you are gathering more information. These crystalline structures are beginning to take place within our own body systems. And humanity itself is beginning to follow suit. You will see more and more of these changes over the next 250 years.
Is there a way of actually quickening or opening that pineal, activating those crystals in there to work?
Much of that is like a radio station, and you can at first be very confused with all the different facets of ideas that are coming through that sort of form, because you're picking up all sorts of new energies that you aren't quite aware of. Now, as you're able to focus yourself in meditation, we would say would particularly be helpful here, allow yourself to kind of tune in those certain aspects of yourself, and you can tap into certain things that way. You will begin to understand these things as consciousness begins to develop. It is part of your beingness that you want to have more coming to you, more ideas. And it is opening yourself to other universal things, making new connections with others, understanding your own energies, fields, and things that you are interacting with other people. You're bringing this to another level. And as you bring this into another level, it will start to reflect this in much of your own physical forms. It won't be so much in the same stages where you were as humanity has been. And yes, there has been evolution tracks taking place throughout time and is very settled. But these things are going to be happening at a much more rapid pace now, because humanity itself is understanding new conscious ways of being and making new connections with itself. And so it is posed through the whole idea of consciousness that a new form of being should become to be. And that is what is happening with the children coming in now, and also the changes that are taking place within your own physical bodies now, and the changes that will take place in physical bodies as scientists begin to understand this further along, of what is happening to the human and what is reconnecting. DNA structures will also be changing in their own little forms. And as you take on other aspects, there will be much more that you can do, because your body is becoming more conscious. And all of its systems are becoming more conscious, more aware of itself. And you will be able to make more changes through these new changes that are happening through your own body structures. Much of this will happen through your own belief systems, and the degree that you're able to change much of this.
Can anything be done to help the average person who's trying to grow spiritually and develop their consciousness and pay their mortgage?
We find your question very entertaining. What is the average person? You each here are very unique. When it comes to your mortgage payment, look at the facets of how you are looking at your mortgage payment. You seem to have mixed vibrations that you are setting up, split ways of looking at it, being one way of it being your home, and another way of being a payment, a debt, the cup is half full and the cup is half empty sort of look. We want you to maybe experience something different and transmute some of that energy so that this can be a little bit more of a better thing. You are limitless in the possibilities. You can make greater changes if you would like that are happening within your own life and structures. And you can develop a new belief system about mortgage payments that can create a whole new avenue for you, that can create a much more ease when you feel something about, for instance, mortgage payments. So what we would suggest for the average person,
Which is not you.
is to take a lighter look at life. You have many possibilities that are available to you. And as you expand yourself, and as you view everything in your life, on all the details, notice your belief systems about abundance or money, change what it is that is holding you back. If you have one belief that tells you you must be one certain way about money, or you've bought into a certain way about money, it is always going to be part of your vibration until you bring that into the more conscious mold of what it is that you are. And you let go of the limitations, then you can be able to allow for the abundance to come through your life. An abundance that will allow you even greater mortgage payments.
So can you help us all at this moment transmute that energy that I'm sure all of us carry in some thread within us now?
It is not necessarily that we can transform you.
No, help.
But that is why we are here now, is trying to bring new ideas forward so that you can see within yourself that your reality is literally connected to what you feel inside. Literally connected to the vibrations that you are putting up on a constant basis through many different thought forms, through many different ideas. Some subconsciously happening simultaneously as you are consciously thinking of other ideas. Much of the indications are within your own heart. Feel those things. Know if a door is opening or a door should be closing even. You should feel these things and know where you're being guided in. And each of you, as you are more connected to yourself in those ways, can bring more of your light and joy, more of your aspects that create more ease in your reality, if you so desire. Many of you like drama, and so you are attracted to that in your life. TV is very popular in this world for one of those reasons.
We like to watch other people's drama.
Yes.
Do you like to watch our drama?
Not in particularly. It is entertaining.
Did you say it was entertaining, or?
It is entertaining on many different levels because we see reality in a much different way. Many of you are looking for an expanse of who you are and who God is, without looking within yourselves and knowing the great creators that you, each of you, are doing and constantly doing within your own reality. We find it rather amusing sometimes with certain things. We are very interested in humanity. You have made great leaps forward in many different ways, and you've done this with great limitations. And we applaud you in your many different ways and facets to be able to hold new energies, even though you are coming time and time again up against a new wall, a new obstacle. You find your way around it. It doesn't matter even if you are hitting the same thing many times over. We keep seeing what humanity is capable of. In an imperfect world, you are bringing more love and light, and you're grounding this within yourself. And we just want you to be able to express more of your love, to express more and have more joy in your life. That is part of why we would like to be here and have these great discussions with you.
We know that it's in relationship with others that we do a lot of our growing and expanding. But would it be beneficial with meditation or whatever to take a month and take on some hermit qualities and seclude ourselves and just do meditation? Would that be something that would be expansive to our consciousness?
That may be, on an individual basis, be a great idea. In fact, it may be a great form of taking some time out from your reality to experience a whole other type of reality, to readjust yourself and to find your center, and to be at a new vibration coming out of it. Drastic changes many times will take place in one's life, and it will create a new shift, a new paradigm for a person to be able to take on another aspect. Sometimes there is a clearing before there is a great abundance. It is a natural thing. You see it with nesting, for instance, with women as they clean house and prepare. Much of this can happen in other forms in your life as you are cleaning your own life up, trying to bring a new part of yourself forward, trying to bring a new way of being, and taking a moment from your life and from the structures may be beneficial if that is something that you feel most comfortable with. And it can reset some of your own energy in those sorts of ways. Many of the masters on your earth have done such a thing.
So we're going to start winding this down. So anyone who hasn't asked a question, if they would like to step up.
Greater consciousness and connectedness to sort of the energy of the one of all humanity does come great joy and more sense of being, but also the flood of the pain of what so much of humanity is experiencing. So how do you deal with that feeling of responsibility, knowing that you want to help but can't make it right for everyone? So at what point is where is our responsibility, and how do you deal with that feeling of pain?
By not focusing on that pain. But we also say you cannot change all of humanity. What you want to focus most on is your individual self. Being well yourself. Being well in your own vibration and who you are, and being the fullness of that. And if you experience pain on an individual basis, look into where that source of pain is. Much of that comes from yourselves. Yes, there is a pain that is being felt throughout all of humanity. It is underlining hum that is happening. It is pain is being distributed evenly throughout humanity in itself. But where you want to focus your attention on is the wellness of who and your beingness of what you are and expressing in each moment. For the more well you are in that, the more well humanity is. So we would say to focus on what you are feeling. You do not have to take on more pain than you particularly need with humanity. Much of this is being distributed through media and is being zoomed in, and the pain is felt in greater details. But there can be a great healing from feeling these pains, showing empathy and feeling and transmuting some of the energy that is there. Sharing some of that is going to happen on many different degrees. We think your question is more related to the pain that you are particularly feeling, and we would say not to take on too much of humanity's pain, but to look at your own life and know that you are a limitless being, that you have abilities to be able to create a much better life. And as other people see that happening for yourself, they will want to join you in that great joy of their own life. And so it begins to solve the great pain problems that are happening throughout humanity. Humanity won't come without pain. But it also won't come without great joy.
It's been reported that some little communities, townships, small cities have experienced a vibration, and it's different in different areas, and it's a vibration, and it's there, and it's felt, and it's heard, but no one seems to know where it comes from. Is that kind of an experiment, or are they creating it themselves because they're totally unaware of it as a group? Do you have any knowledge of that?
There are things that are happening around your planet. We ask you to feel out what is happening. There are different facets of things that are going on behind the scenes. Some of it, your own mechanisms are becoming more aware. But there are things that are happening, clearing out in some ways.
Is it to raise consciousness, or if it can't be explained and so many people are experiencing it, there's got to be a lot of questions that are being brought forth. That would that necessarily be an adjustment of those individuals that are experiencing that, their energies? Is that a process that's happening in those particular circumstances?
There are adjustments that are being made throughout the planet. Much of the noises that are here that you are particularly speaking of are happening underground, and yet they are things that is of a clearing out sort of thing. There are much that is not understood by humanity at this time, but much of this will be brought in more light.
Thank you.
As you notice, we have a vibration here today. And that's our tax dollars at work outside, putting a new street in. So, but we'll claim it as our own vibration. So let's down to a couple more questions, because Ryan would like to give him a little light day today. He has a cold.
With what we know about consciousness, and is becoming conscious really about getting rid of our distractions so we know deep within the way we're supposed to walk to become fully conscious?
There are many different forms of consciousness. It doesn't come with one just way. You can come through consciousness by becoming more aware of yourself and tuning out what is around you. But we don't say that that is necessarily the way of consciousness also. It is one form of consciousness. It is also experiencing and understanding the fullness of your experiences. It is understanding this life and the things that you would like to enjoy. Consciousness is on many different levels and can be experienced by many different ways.
When you said clearing out, what did you mean by that? About clearing out of, was it with peoples or things going on the earth, earthquakes and
There are things going on under the earth, yes. There are a clearing out of certain aspects that are happening. Much of this is an operation that has been ongoing throughout government's times.
So joy is our greatest goal. Is that correct?
That is a great idea. Joy is one of your greatest goals. To experience bliss in your life. To be in the most fullness of your joy will be in the most fulfilling your life will ever be. So attract joy. Yes, we would say that would be one of your main goals. But do you be in touch with yourself, because you cannot experience joy without understanding truly the other natures of yourself. We're not saying it is always going to be love and light in your life. But you can feel more fulfillment by attracting much more of your joy. By finding out what it is that you would like to experience opposed to what you would rather not experience. And there's a great bandwidth here of what joy is, and the meaning of joy for every person here is going to be different.
So are we truly the ones we've been waiting for?
Are you truly the one you're waiting for?
That didn't come out right. Did it? I think that came out in reverse.
Okay.
You have come in your own individual ways to experience and expand. And each of you have come to this meeting for some of that. You are on your own walks of life, and you're not here to necessarily change the world, but find the ways to the doors and open them up and then hold them open for others. To be examples in some ways, we would suggest yes, because you have a more openness to your mind and to your experiences, to be able to allow for more to happen in your life, to change the way that you think, will begin to change the way others will begin to think around you. And they will see this through examples of your life.
I have one more question. A lot of us here come to become more connected with our inner beings and want to become closer and more enlightened as the way that the keeper is. And sometimes it seems harder, sometimes it seems easy. Sometimes things flow out of me that I don't even know where they come from. And I feel good about it, but I don't remember what I said. But it can't be a bad thing, because usually people's jaws are still on the ground. And then they're picking them up going, wow, that was pretty cool.
You each all have your own abilities to channel in your own forms, as the keeper is channeling himself. This channeling is done through your creativity and how you are connected to your higher self. And as you are connected to your higher self, you're not just connected to the beingness of who you are suddenly connected to the expansionness of all there is. And so you are available and can be tapped into many different energies at one time that can bring in and assist you with different avenues of things that you are trying to change in your experiences of your life. So as you are experiencing these ideas that are happening moment to moment on basis, and sometimes it's not who you are like to be, you are more disconnected from what it is that your source energy is. But those times that you are connected to very much your source energy and are somewhat more feeling as enlightened, you are bringing more aspects of yourself through, and you're transmuting it and grounding it through your own way of being and experiencing experiences that are happening throughout your life as you are here. So as you see more of that and you're tapping into that, allow for more of that to happen, and you will begin to see new changes take place in the studies that you are doing.
I do see changes in a lot less rubble running around in my head, a lot less confusion, a lot less worrying. You know, the worrying part is, you know, don't sweat the small stuff. To me, I don't find it as troubling as like it was years ago.
And you are beginning to take off those limits. And as you keep breaking down those limits and bringing forth more, you become more limitless in those things.
Okay, so let's take this moment while we still have this great energy here and tap back into the circle and cast your thread of wisdom and knowledge that we've learned today. I know that we've all interconnected and we're weaving a greater web, and we have the connections for both sides. And because of that, we have made a difference in the world today and within ourselves. Thank you. We are so grateful. Blessings.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right?
Wow.
That was way good.
Oh, good, because I worked all night and I'm sick.
Did you get some sleep today?
Yeah, I got a little bit of sleep today, so, yeah.
Probably not around in this general area, because there doesn't seem like much sleep going on.
Oh, I live out in the country.
Yeah, not this room. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize we were going to have extra
Kind of a good massage, though.
Yeah, it's vibrating the floor. Yeah,
bad.
that's true. That's true. So Ryan is actually open to doing private sessions to whatever your questions could be if you don't want to bring it out into a group. Because we're still going to try and keep on Thursdays. He's back on like you say.
I don't know. It's still
This
it's
is all
been
over.
interesting. I haven't
Yeah.
asked for any of this time off, but it's been happening consistently on a Thursday where I get time off for
Right.
about 2 months now. There's only been 1 week I have not.
Yeah,
So-
that was last week, and we had him here on Tuesday.
Did you fly out?
So just let me know. We'll schedule it or whatever we need to do. Make sure you sign the sheet
Anybody
here.
need this?
Do we need to sign in every time we come?
I'm just trying to keep kind of who's coming so that we can have,
Space is a consideration.
how much space I'm actually talking about here. We also have now another offer of a space in Meridian that actually seats up to 200 people. So,
This is some
We're going.
clarity too.
so anyway, we could go
They
to that,
wanted to mention something about clarity
way,
too.
but we're not
for
ready
development.
for there. I'm just
Clarity.
trying to open it up
As you-
and let it grow to what it
Right.
needs. I think it's,
As you ask for
right
is
now
what
we're just doing
you're
it
saying.
in
It's actually hard to
a
remember
slow,
Really?
casual process.
So
I think
we're,
it's very interesting.
I guess your relationship is growing stronger, and your is
Right, and-
Oh, speaking of that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we have a gathering tonight at 6:30, Abraham
Deep
Teaching,
for
so
you.
It is, but for
great
me,
bouncing off
I have
place
to learn
from
through my own
group
process
to
how to
actually
change my
to
life.
talk about a lot of those things, and they are. There's a really, really, really strong correlation there.
along
And
So-
if you're not on our website, please get on our
Yeah.
website. You can actually add your name to
Yeah.
it, and you'll get
You know,
emails
I do.
as soon as
Nice to see you.
I
we
do
get
want- I
we're
do
getting
call
there,
you.
slowly but
Set
surely.
up
Yeah, I've been
The other
working
thing
since I
is
talked to
that
you
we
this
have,
whole time until today.
what I just
It's
talked
okay.
about
I've
today
just
was the
been-
Indigenous. We
things
had
have been
Marianne
super
Williamson
busy
do
for
the
whatever
Indigenous
reason,
prayer that just was
because of all the
over the
different
top,
things
so
that I do.
profound.
I've had a lot of people
That we'll have more of that. Ron is actually downloading those, that
life is really
conference for
it's
me,
dynamic
and
right
that
now.
will be able
in
to
all
play.
aspects, life, death.
So we have Greg Brayton coming, and also Barbara Marks Hubbard and the grandmothers. So that's all.
The grandmothers, is that a band?
Pardon me?
Is that grandmothers, is that a band?
Yeah, well, when you see them, it looks like a band.
They're going to be